Several weeks ago, I did a video on this portable cassette deck. And the reason why I did that, I have a tape that my grandfather had recorded that goes along with 3 of the reels that are in this box. So I solved one of the problems by picking up this device, having the ability to take the audio from the cassette and make it digital. What am I going to do with the films? Well, that's where this device comes in. We got an 8mm and Super 8 Reels Movie Maker Pro. And this is what's next. All right, so before we begin the unboxing and the review of the Eyesen Movie Maker Pro, I did want to clarify that as full transparency, this product was provided to me by DigitNOW. Just know that this video has not been reviewed by the vendor before it was posted, and all of the opinions are of my own. So, full transparency as well, this is not the first time I've had a device like this. If we push this off to the back, here's my Wolverine unit. Now, I've had this for quite some time, and I think it's starting to die. I've already replaced the motor on it once, and it has a tendency now to just kind of rip films apart. Not good if you're trying to transfer some of my grandfather's old films. Not good at all. When DigitNOW reached out to me about doing another product review, I said, well, I see you have this Movie Maker Pro. This can do the much larger reels up to 9 inches, where I believe the other one was only 7 inches, which was 200 feet of film. This will do up to 400. That was the main reason right there. Plus 2, higher resolution. So let's take a look at this box real quick. Well, on the front, we can see that it says film type 8mm. That also includes Super 8. Has 5 megapixels. Film format, or file format is MPEG-4 or H.264. And it is a 2.4-inch TFT LCD display. Small. But you could do an TV output if you want to see it in real time. I believe that's just RCA, not HDMI. It has the SD card slot and your AC adapter. So if we happen to look on the side here, there are our specs. So film to digital converter, it is USB 2 interface. Exposure controls is either automatic or manual. White balance is automatic. There's some pluses and minuses to that. The resolution, that's the key thing, 1080p, so 1440 by 1080 at 20 frames a second, which if I remember correctly, 30 frames a second on the other device. So you always had to make some adjustments. I still will, depending on the speed of the film. And it will do both movie positive and negative. And there's some other information here. It is also compatible NTSC and PAL. 32 gigabytes is the maximum storage that this will take. And then on the back here, it looks like we have some attention to the maintenance of the product. We'll look at that later. And again, it will accept reels ranging from 3 inches all the way up to 9. So basically 50 feet, 100 feet, 200 feet, and 400 feet. Some other product information is located here, but I think now what we want to do is we want to get this thing out of the box. So let's go ahead and we're going to do the fancy snapping the fingers to avoid all of that unboxing part. All right, so one thing to keep in mind if you happen to go with a product like this, just know that some parts are within the styrofoam, at least with this particular device. This would be your Super 8 adapters for the take-up reel, and then it looks like it does come with one reel, and it has the smaller hole, which would be the 8mm, but that's fine. You can use it for both Super 8 and 8mm. So we have a reel, some adapters, and again, it's just a wall wart. Its output is, if we can find it here, it is 12 volts at 1.5 amps or 18 watts. This looks like a pretty hefty manual. Along with that, we have a couple other pieces in here. It looks like we have a cloth for cleaning. We have a blower and a brush. We have a USB to USB micro or mini connection. So it doesn't even do USB-C. Kind of a disappointing on that. And then this is your RCA out, as I mentioned before, for the TV out. All right, let's get the device out of the bag. All right, here we go. There is the device. And again, there is definitely, coming over to go get my other device, a lot of similarities between these two decks. Pretty much the same button layout. If we go look at this one over here, same thing. But because this one gets the bigger reel, you can put, 400-foot reels on here, or again, the 9-inch reels, which was, again, something you could not do with this device. So if we look at this really quick, there is your film selector. They had it already set to Super 8 film, but you can do the 8mm, so that would be the style of my grandfather's films. You're going to basically route the film through this diagram here. You can see the white line. That would be for taking up and then doing the film recording, and then when you're doing a rewind, you're going to basically route it through here and back up to the original reel. So this is your take up, and that's your supply. Over here we have a slide, and then in there is where the film itself is transmitted to the CCD camera, which you can kind of see the hole. I don't know if you can see that right there. And then that's where your digital image is going to be coming from. So that's really about it. On the back here, we have our SD card, and yes, there is one included, and it's 32 gigs. I'm glad that they included that. There is your USB out, so I guess you could route that to your computer. I'll check the manual here real quick. The TV out, SD card, and again, there's your DC 12-volt connection. All right, and we have some vent holes back here. No, this does not do sound. So any sound films that you would want to transfer, you'll only get the image and not the sound. All right, let's go through a quick tutorial on this device, and let's get a family film transferred. All right, so first thing you want to do is you're going to power on the device. And when you do that, it'll take a moment, the light will come on, your take-up reel motor will move, and you get this screen. Let's go through the menu options. All right, on the camera, I am noticing some flickering. I do not see that here. Although the viewable angle, if you're too high up and you're looking down, it's a little hard to see. So what you're going to do is you're going to click the menu button, and these are your options. You have record and playback, rewind, which will show that in a moment. You then have your exposure, which if you click OK, you can go up or down. I think either -2 or +2. So you just do that based off of your film. And you'll get an image on the screen. We'll show again that in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and click my menu. I'm back. You can do sharpness, which it defaults to medium, but you have low and high. And depending on the film, you just kind of play around with that. USB connection, and then you have frame adjust, which we'll show that in a second. Your language, you can format the SD card. You have your default settings, which this is currently set to, and your film type, which again, if I click that, you have movie positive and movie negative. And last but not least, you have your version, which is currently the version from 2018. Now it's time to do a transfer. Now you're given these two adapters. This adapter here is for your take-up because it has the little slot. That, if we go up to the camera here, that'll slot in like so. So you want to make certain that that's for this side. And then this is really just for your supply reel. It doesn't do anything. There's no motor or whatnot on this side. So it's just spooling the film to get to the take-up reel. We're going to take our cover off. This is Super 8. There's no leader on this. It's just film. Sometimes you'll get leader, usually white or gray on some of these. So this film kind of just starts. So that's kind of a downside. But anyways, what you're going to do is you're going to put your adapter on. And the one thing I've noticed is that this is really hard to get on there. You don't want to go too hard on it. I've been using a screwdriver, believe it or not, to pop this off, especially when I'm doing the rewind. So just know that that is kind of an issue with this. This thing fits really, really tight. So now that we have our reel on here, and again, it's still kind of, there we go, in, we're just going to load that, and it just sits in here. So again, I can unspool the film as needed. Before I do that, because I've already run a couple films through here, I'm going to clean that out. We have the brush here, so we're going to go ahead and just swipe back and forth, and then I can even blow air on it. So before every time you do a transfer, probably best to do that. All right, now here comes the fun part. I have to take off my glasses in order to see this. So what we want to do is you're going to go in, and your first is to get under this lip. Super difficult. And then you want to get under that lip. Don't manhandle your film too bad. And then you have to get it under this lip. And then once you get that done, then you can go ahead and close that, and you are good to go. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab our supply reel. And like I said, there's a trick. What you want to do is trying to get the film into its slot like that. The reason for that is it just makes it easier to then come up here. Again, if you can get the film in. Okay. Pull enough of the film out to at least wrap it once around your reel. All right. And then get it into that slot, which I'm having, there we go, like that. I just love the physicality of film. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to go and follow this white line with our film. So you bring your film down under the first nub. I'm calling it a nub. I don't know what the actual term is. And then this goes like that and like that. All right, so there you go. We now have the thing threaded up and good to go. Now, I mentioned frame adjust. Went into the menu, I selected frame adjust. I'm going to click OK. And it will advance the film a little bit. You select each one of these. And then when you are on X, I can go, and you can see that the image kind of moves a little bit to the left and to the right. And then if I want to go OK, I go to Y. And again, I can go up or down now. And then maybe what you're trying to think is, well, what does W do? It actually zooms in or zooms out. And the reason for that is so then that way you can get more of the image. You can see the frame sprocket right there. If I go up, if I don't want that in there, I can go back up to a higher number. And again, we're just going to select 15, 15, and 15. We're going to click menu. Let's go to the next step, which is menu, and I'm going to go up. And then I'm going to click OK. It's going to say, hey, did you set everything up? I'm going to say yes. Click OK. The light comes on. It says, please wait. It advances a couple frames, and now it begins the process of transferring each of the frames, 2 frames a second, onto the SD card and create a movie file. Now, the first thing that I noticed with this particular unit compared to the other unit, this is nowhere near as loud. So sometimes with the old unit, I would just have to be in a completely different room. So this could be sitting right next to me and go ahead and do my work because this isn't going to bother me as much. All right, let's do a time lapse of this. It takes about half hour to do 50 feet. So for every 50 feet of film, add a half hour. So if you were doing a 400-foot film, you're going to be there for a while. So let's go ahead and get this thing transferred. All right, so it's done, and the take-up reel has the film. The device is off. What I want to do is I'm going to select the slider and take this reel off, and we're going to do the rewind in just a second. But you can go into menu and down to playback and click OK. There is the video. Let me zoom in real quick, and I'm selecting OK, and it should play the video. And there you go. Video is playing. Hard to tell because when my dad shot this, it was quite dark. But, all right, so far so good. All right, so we're going to click OK and go back to menu. Now, how do we get this to rewind? First off, I don't want to delete. Let's go back to, there we go. What we want to do is we want to take off this reel. And unfortunately, like I said, I have to kind of pop this off with a screwdriver. And we need to put this reel over here. Okay, not too difficult. I leave it out a little bit so that it doesn't rub against the metal brace. Oh, which by the way, this is all metal, that's all metal. The top is plastic, or the outer back part is plastic. The other thing that I noticed about this particular unit is that it does have a tendency to want to lean forward. They probably should have put feet here. So I'm probably going to put some rubber feet so that it doesn't have this tendency to move forward like that. Next, what we want to do is we want to grab, again, this particular adapter, and that will slide up like so. Now, this side isn't as difficult to get things on and off. It's just this side. And then this reel here, because we're doing this reverse, because now the sprockets are facing us. When I was playing the film, they were facing towards the back. I'm going to make certain that this reel is backwards. All right, so first thing we want to do is we want to unspool the film. All right, next, I'm going to do the same thing again. We're going to grab the film. I want to be like this when I do it. Okay, now it's right. This will get slotted in like so. Make certain that it goes under this nub. Go back to my menu. We're doing a rewind. We're going to click OK and go. And there you go. Whoop, I did forget one thing. Stop. Make certain that that is down before you do that. Otherwise, you might scratch the heck out of your film. Back to menu. Click OK. Go. And again, not very fast. This will take a few moments for it to rewind. But again, that's how you would rewind your film. All right, we need to take a look at this video. Here's my SD card. We're going to get that put into the system itself. We should see that come up on my desktop, hopefully. There it is. I'm going to go into the film scanner and movie, and I believe that was the one that we just did. So let me drag that over. I want to give it a fighting chance so that it's playing off the internal drive. Now we're going to double click. And I'm going to, now the first thing I'm noticing already is that it's kind of pixelated. So, all right. But that's my brother, by the way. So my brother is looking at the camera and eating one of his toys. Yeah. And then I'm Mr. Goofy in the back, and I'm trying to make him laugh, but obviously you can tell I'm failing at that. Overall, I mean, quality-wise, again, my dad and shaky cam. So, again, what do you expect for the Super 8 camera? And then here's what we're starting to get visually. It's okay. I mean, it's not, I mean, we got color. You know, this thing was shot probably early 70s, mid 70s, I'm going to guess. So it's a little pixelated. But again, we're looking at it from digital. If I watched this on my phone, I probably wouldn't even know. If I watch this on my widescreen television, yeah, I'm probably going to notice some pixelization to it. But you know what? I have some tools. I could play around with it and see if we can clean it up. But it's a start. Is it worth it? I guess that was the title of the thumbnail, right? Is it worth it for a DIY home movie transfer device? Well, let's find out. We're going to take it to the studio for my final thoughts. Having the Wolverine device and comparing the two, I was hoping that this one was going to be at least a little bit better visually. And maybe it is slightly better than the Wolverine, which was, I think, 720p as opposed to 1080p on this one. But the compression rate on this thing is still kind of, it just takes over too much of the image, I think. There are some tools that I have to enhance video. I might look into that as a separate video, taking that same movie that we just looked at and seeing if we can improve it a little bit, especially if I'm doing this transfer with my grandfather's films and supplying that out to the family. I thought that, put a little bit more time and effort. Yes, I could put a camera in front of a screen. I could capture that way. I don't know if it would look even better. It would have its pluses and its minuses, but for now, I think, is it worth it? That's the key thing. The overall, I think for the money, I think it's around $250, $300. If you have a large group of films that you want to transfer and you're okay with that quality, maybe it might be the route for you. Personally, I'm a little disappointed that it really wasn't any better than the Wolverine that I already had. Well, that was my look at the Movie Maker Pro today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you found it informative and helpful, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. If you're wanting to support the channel, go ahead and check out my Amazon store. Link is in the description. Until next time, if you want to watch another video, you can either click one here or here, and I'll see you again for another episode of Hey, What's Next?